Life creates life, and all life is fractal in nature. The small part blossoms and develops in synchrony with its ecological environment. The branch in the fall, before the leaves disappear in the cold, before the branch becomes brittle with frozen sap and ice in the winter, has a pattern for a new bud. And that bud waits, regardless of how long the winter. The bud waits for the temperature to thaw before emerging dense and defensive, before blossoming into tenderness, into sensitivity in the spring and in the summer, so that it has a chance to set seed before the coldness of the next winter sets in. The psyche gives rise to identity in synchrony with the physical and social ecology around it. Trustworthy, nurturing, caring environments give rise to trusting, grateful, and beautiful identities, patterns of thinking, feeling, speaking, and doing that correlate with the environment around. A psychedelic or substance-induced high, such as MDMA, is an accelerated greenhouse that creates the artificial or microclimate of a hothouse for a number of hours. And in that hothouse, in which pain in the form of memory, in the form of sensation, in the form of thought, is diminished, the memories that correlate to trauma, the thoughts that correlate to loneliness, the fears that correlate to abuses in the outer environment are suspended. And it is as if for a period of time, one is when inside a bubble that has no pain, a bubble that has no abuse, a bubble that accelerates the blossoming of the ultimate potential, the ultimate direction of the psyche towards conscious, sustainable love, joy, gratitude, and fun. When this greenhouse, when this substance forces bloom in an otherwise harsh and cold environment, it is as if a greenhouse descended at 85 degrees around a bud in January. And the rapid growing of the stem, the rapid opening of the bud into a bloom occurs in a very short period of time. But then the greenhouse leaves the vicinity. The substance wears off. And what's left is a very delicate flower in the middle of January, in sub-zero temperatures. That flower freezes, does not get to become fully blossomed, to become fully formed. It freezes. As the cold air and sub-zero temperatures interact with the tenderness of the cells and the petals, and it dies mid-bloom before it has a chance to set seed. This is why it's so important to look not only to the psychedelic experience, but to the care and integration, and to a warm environment of support that can help the sped up blossom, the sped up development of a deeper and truer self to come outward into the world. When that doesn't occur, the opening of the essential self is met with the trauma of the underlying reality that does not support that time as a time to bloom. Sociopathic partners, dishonest friends, jealous and malicious, pettiness and cruelty are sub-zero temperatures for the empathic and transcendent states, for the empathic and transcendent regions of the brain. And when force-fed, become preyed upon. And there is a wrenching apart, there is a splitting, there is a death of identity. And when innocence, when beauty, when truth and goodness and aspiration are force-fed, are prematurely birthed, only to be shriveled, to be violated, to be dishonored in the thick winter snow that follows. It is the most painful, the most embittering, the most lonely experience an individual witness can have. To watch one's potential, to watch what is most good, most beautiful, most real and true in oneself be ripped apart, become frostbitten and frozen, to become lost in the snow. To witness that is the darkest place a human can go. It's as if a parent gives birth to a child and then watches that child being taken from their arms and slowly dying in 3 feet of snow, turning blue as the wails become silent, and a lifetime of possibility, a blossoming, is cut in a state of profound helplessness. In date rape, MDMA creates a microcosm of sensation that the body brings naturally to relationships that have earned trust, that have earned honor, that have developed the level of competency to sustain that degree of joy, that degree of openness. You see, the heart is a thermometer of human states. And like a thermometer, when the weather is sustainably warm, the thermometer holds in the 75 to 85 degree range. And citrus and orchids and all the plants that thrive in that range grow. When the temperature falls to sub-freezing, the thermometer accurately tracks that state as gratitude, joy, love, passion, and enthusiasm move downward towards fear, towards anxiety, towards dissociation, towards grief, towards sadness, towards emptiness. And one can force the thermometer to read 80 or 90 degrees by blowing on the glass around the mercury. But as we do so, we do not create a temperature that grows oranges. As we mantra with affirmations, appreciations, psychedelics, we do not create a cultural environment that grows joy, love, and beauty. We simply pump up the reading in the scientific instrument that is the human heart, and with that false reading can manipulate the bloom of an orange blossom in December. But it does not stop the frostbite of that bloom. Ultimately, what we are all looking for and what needs to happen is that we need to develop the level of consciousness needed to create and sustain a temperature that, once created through a series of reliable protocols, and that reliability part is important, because if the bridge takes the car over the 200-foot chasm most of the time, it's not enough. Because if even 5% of the time that you drive back and forth over the chasm, the bridge gives way and the car crashes to its death, you're no longer there to enjoy the other 95% of the time when it works. If 95% of the time your partner is honest and does not betray your trust, but 5 times out of 100, you and your trust go crashing into the chasm, trust is fragile and is not there to enjoy or appreciate the fact that 95 times out of 100, your partner actually doesn't sleep with your best friend. Ultimately, we need to be sensitive and respectful and understand the role of an accelerant, an artificial temperature booster, and need to recalibrate to the environment that we're in, seeing that this was possible, that this is who we truly are in a sane and healthy environment that we do not have the current skill to create and induce naturally. Indeed, endogenous chemicals in the brain are capable of naturally inducing all of these states of falling in love, of transcendent vision, of experience. It's just that the cultural atmosphere of 3 feet of snow, of sociopathic protocols of materialism, reptilian thinking, capitalism, a barrage of constant messages that the money people make is worth more than the people that make it, that these messages don't support that kind of gratitude, that kind of love. And so to flood the body artificially with chemicals it is capable of inducing in the right environment can confuse the consciousness into believing that the world has actually changed because an 8-hour greenhouse was placed around your body. And that confusion can lead to leaving cars unlocked in the heart of Oakland, can lead to not skeptically examining someone who has repeatedly lied. Now, gratitude may not be the appropriate reading to exude when one has just been betrayed, when one is around someone who will undercut 10 years of work at the drop of the hat for a little bit of expediency. Gratitude, transcendence, beauty are states, the temperature, the thermometer of the human heart and the human body exude and reveal when we are capable of co-creating an environment that sustains those states.